This is Judge Joe Brown, and you're watching We All Be News TV, the
News-free Dixie.
News-free Dixie for the 21st century.
Good morning and welcome back to WDIA, the Bev Johnson Show. How you feel this day? Do you feel what I'm feeling? Well, that's the name of that song, Warren Hill. I hope you feel what I'm feeling this morning. Oh, it's a beautiful day in Memphis, Tennessee. For those of you all who are listening across the country, we have sunshine and it's a beautiful fall day. Come on, fall. Come on with this colder weather. It's coming. It's coming. Welcome into the Bev Johnson Show. Good to have you here on this Tuesday, October 24th. October's about to get on out of here, but still we're here. Before we get started this morning and introduce you to our guest, well, you know what day it is today. What? It's the grown folks 2-4 Tuesday at Lou's Blue Note Bar and Grill, 341 Beale Street. That's where the grown folks what? Hang out, and we will be hanging out this evening. So if you're not doing anything, Father says, why you said they're not doing? Well, sometimes folks are doing stuff. If you're not doing anything, you just want to kind of relax and unwind and hang with some grown folks and hear some grown folks conversation, well, we invite you to come to Lou's Blue Note Bar and Grill. It's 341 Historic Beale Street. It's the home of the pound and a half of chicken wings. Well, yeah, with some french fries. Yeah, it's enough to share for 2 or 3. Yeah, and 2-for-1 drinks this evening. The best music. BC is in the house. DJ BC, my DJ, is in the house, and we have a good time. So playing grown folks music, grown folks fun, and you never know what I may have for you. If you're celebrating your birthday tonight, I will have something for you. I think I will. I know I will. So hopefully I will. On Y and I, we'll be looking forward to seeing y'all tonight. It's the grown folks 2-4 Tuesday. We kick it off at 6 o'clock this evening, y'all. And you know at Lou's what we say. It's absolutely free. F-R-E-E. No admission. Just come on in and have a good time and eat and drink and dance and have conversation and take pictures like y'all do and just, you know, what grown folks do. What grown folks do. That's what Bar K say. What grown folks do. So I'm looking forward to seeing all of you all this evening at Lou's Blue Note Bar and Grill, 341 Beale Street. Well, y'all need to put your ears on. Well, let me ask this question. Let me ask this question before I introduce my guest. To my listeners out there, I'm going to ask this question. Do you know who Jimmie LUNceford is? Ponder that for a moment. Do you know Jimmie LUNceford? Do you know anything about Jimmie LUNceford? Well, we're getting ready to show some black history for y'all this day. In the house with me, my guest. It is a pleasure. I had the pleasure of meeting him over the weekend at the Stone Awards. He got a Stone Award. Congratulations. He is Mr. Ron Hurd. We call him brother. I like the brother Ron Hurd with the We All Be Group, nonprofit group. How you doing, brother Ron?
Sister Bev, it's an honor to be in your presence today. Thank you for sharing your platform with us.
You know, I am so glad to have you here because when you were, and congratulations again on your Stone Award.
Thank you. It's an honor.
And when I heard you up there talking, and I had heard this name before, and I said, wow, I need to get Brother Ron on the show and Brother Ron had some time for us. And because when I asked the question, Brother Ron, well, before we get into that, tell our listeners a little bit about Ron Hurd and your nonprofit group.
Well, I'm known as Brother Ron Hurd, also known as Ronald Cortez Hurd II, also known to some people as R2C2H2, the Artivist. I'm an activist and artist, hence the name Artivist. That's a part of our tradition in our community. Think of people like Paul Robeson or even my friend Dick Gregory, who use their talents to promote and advance the cause of humanity. It's nonprofit. We do work in the community, educational empowerment, cultural awareness and preservation, and also the idea of social entrepreneurship. This week we are sponsoring the first annual Jimmie LUNceford Jamboree Festival. We're going to have like 7 days or 7 events or more throughout the city honoring this extraordinary black man.
Okay, hold it right there.
Yeah.
Because when I asked the question to our listeners, you know, I can see him run. I said, do you know the name of Jimmie LUNceford? And I really didn't know the name of Jimmie LUNceford till I heard you talking. I go like, what? You know, because we don't know everything.
That's right.
And when we brother Ron, we sometimes we don't know all of our history,
right?
Because black folk have a great history.
Yeah.
So tell us about who in the heck is Jimmie LUNceford?
Well, Jimmie LUNceford was the man who was really responsible for the renown of the Memphis sound along with W.C. Handy, but even more so because he was the first high school band director in the whole city for the schools back in the day. He came to Manassas back in 1927.
Now y'all listen to this. 1927 to Manassas.
Yes, ma'am.
Manassas was a high school.
Right.
In 1927.
That's right.
What?
Yep. Manassas actually was the first public high school for black people that went all the way to the 12th grade.
Right.
Accredited in Shelby County.
In Shelby County.
Yep. Yes, ma'am. And
Okay.
he came here, and he was hired not to be a band director or music teacher, but to be the football coach, baseball coach, track coach, basketball coach, gym teacher, English and Spanish teacher, and a history teacher.
All of that?
All of that. That's right.
Wait a minute. Well, they hired him to be all of that.
Yep. Anything but music. Yeah.
Wow.
But he was a musical prodigy. Now, he's from Mississippi. He was born there back in June 6, 1902 in Fulton, Mississippi, which is near Tupelo.
I know what Fulton is.
Yeah, I know. It's good people come out of Mississippi.
Yeah.
But he was raised in Denver, Colorado. And his first school teacher was Wilberforce Whiteman, music teacher. He is the father of Paul Whiteman, who was known as the king of jazz back in the 20s, who commissioned George Gershwin for Rhapsody in Blue.
Wow.
So that was his teacher. And so he actually went to Nashville to get his college education at Fisk University. And he fell in love with Yolanda Du Bois, who was the daughter of Dr. W.E.B. Du Bois, the father of American sociology and the first black person to receive a Ph.D. from Harvard University in 1895. He did not approve of that social experiment. So what he ended up doing, he arranged a marriage to his daughter to Count Cullen, who was the Harlem Renaissance poet.
I know, yeah.
But, he was more in love with his best man than his woman. Harold Jackman, known as the finest man in Harlem, that was his lover and best man. So he ended up running away with his best man.
You got my mouth open. County Cullen?
Right.
But I know because as my bachelor's degree is in English literature, so we studied literature and all that. And I never knew that.
Yeah, he was in love with his best man, who was actually known as the finest man in Harlem at the time, Harold Jackman.
Finest man in Harlem.
Let's Google him up. Most handsome man, finest man in Harlem, back in the 20s and 30s.
Okay.
So that was his lover. So he ended up, abandoning her. But that was known as the wedding of the decade, because it was like think about Beyonce and Jay-Z of today or something like that.
Okay.
That's how they was heralding it back in the 20s. But it didn't work out. But so Jimmie never lost his love for Yolanda. She ended up becoming an English teacher, I believe, in Baltimore, and died in 1960. But she always had a love for Jimmie.
Okay.
Yeah, they had this interest in love thing. But anyway, Jimmie LUNceford took his best high school students to form a jazz band. And before that, it's interesting to note that Jimmie LUNceford was probably the first person in the whole world to teach jazz studies in a formal educational setting.
Wow.
Yeah, just by organizing his band, because he knew the power of music to bring people together to instill community pride. So the high school band was known as the Chickasaw Syncopators, excuse me. It was a popular local dance band, had a large local following. So by 1930, he left Manassas with his best high school students and buddies from Fisk University, Edwin Wilcox on piano, Willie Smith on alto sax. And within 4 years, they became the house band at the Cotton Club after Duke Ellington and Cab Calloway. They were the #1 attraction at the Apollo Theater for a whole decade. And you think about all the great people that came through Apollo over the years, but they was the top draw. And they also was more popular among Black Americans than Duke Ellington and Count Basie.
Really?
At the time. Yeah, they was the #1 band for African Americans in the country. They were known as the Harlem Express because of their popularity among African Americans. He really put the show on Showtime. He was one of the first bands to wear tailor-made suits. They really had like a phenomenal floor show, choreography, comedy, dancing, all that, singing. I mean, his trumpet section would throw their trumpets up in unison and then catch them where they played off it. They had a lot of precision, discipline. They were known as the trained seals because of their phenomenal show. Because you got to think about this is before TV. Sometimes they will play for like 40 or 50,000 dancers at a time. And you get all that for just like 75 cents or $1.25 back then. And you know what was interesting about Mr. LUNceford?
What is that?
He owned and flew airplanes back in the 30s and 40s.
Wait a minute. Did he?
Yeah, his first airplane he actually got in 1940 cost him $20,000 back then. This is during the Great Depression.
See, I'm getting chills, and the reason I'm getting chills, Brother Ron, is because when you're laying down this history, and when I hear Black folk who have been calling this radio station,
right,
and talking about things, and Black folk now, who probably never heard of this man,
right,
but Black folks have not always been down and out.
That's right.
You telling me Mr. LUNceford had some planes?
Yeah, he had planes. He had 3 planes.
And he bought them.
He brought them. Matter of fact, his wife, Crystal Tully LUNceford, used to teach English at Booker T. Washington High School.
Wow.
She was Dr. Vasco Smith's English teacher at Booker T. Washington.
Wow.
Dr. Vasco Smith was a lifelong Jimmie LUNceford fan.
Dr. Vasco loved jazz.
Yeah, he loved it.
He loved jazz. I mean, he could tell you about jazz, I know. We had a conversation once, but yeah.
Yeah, that was his English teacher, but she flew in own planes too.
Really?
So both of him and his wife flew in own planes.
His wife flew a plane?
Yep. And,
that's inspiring, man.
That's right. But also, he crashed one of his planes and ended up walking away from it, which is interesting. But, another thing I like about him that he always gave back, because even when he came back to Memphis to sell out church auditorium, he'll go to Manassas High School to give free musician clinics and free concerts for the kids. Matter of fact, State Rep Barbara Cooper was in the Manassas Rhythm Bomb Band, and she had the chance to connect with Jimmie LUNceford doing those visits back to Memphis. Wow. And also Mr. Emerson Abel Jr., who was a rhythm bomber as well. Yeah. He was a lifelong disciple of Jimmie LUNceford. He actually followed in his footsteps, of course, and did some phenomenal things for music education, not only in Memphis, but around the country. Along with co-founder Southern Heritage Classic. Yeah. Right. So Mr. Emerson Abel, he was a good friend of mine.
Yeah. So you know what? And that's great history because Mr. LUNceford, the first, as we know it, as you all as the history, he was the first band teacher.
Right. Because it's interesting. Memphis kind of interesting how they, G.P. Hamilton, they give him credit for starting the first African American band in the system back in, I believe, 1900. And people don't really know who Green P. Hamilton is. That's the namesake of Hampton High School. But he was a phenomenal black man.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's a black man. It was the namesake. G.P. Hamilton was a historian and educator in the city. So people should look him up.
Okay.
And give him his props. But Jimmie LUNceford was the first high school band director in the city.
I like it.
Yeah.
If you've just tuned in this day, we are talking history. And if you haven't heard the name Jimmie LUNceford, you're hearing it today. And Mr. Ron Hurd, who is here with his We All Be Group nonprofit organization, they're doing something with Jimmie LUNceford all this week, and I love it. You all called it the festival,
right? The Jimmie LUNceford Jamboree Festival.
Yeah. So we're going to talk more about that, and especially for you all who may be listening, who are graduates of Manassas. Did you know this?
Right.
Huh. Think about it. Hold on, callers and listeners. We will get to you next. 535-9342 is our number. 1-800-503-9342 will get you in to us. You're listening to WDIA.
Yeah. I'm sorry about talk too fast.
That's good.
Yeah.
It's your girlfriend, Bev Johnson, on WDIA.
The best place to check out all of Chevrolet's most dependable vehicles.
Very good.
Yeah,
I like that.
I mean, I'm gonna slow down a little bit. I know I talk fast.
No, you good.
Okay, cool.
You good. I'm understanding, but you giving us some history, brother.
Yeah.
I know folks didn't make listen, but that's good.
That's who we are, though. That's who we come from. Because, no, Jimmie LUNceford family, they own hundreds of acres of land down in Mississippi. I went down there this June and talked to some of his relatives, descendants. They still got control of their property, several hundred acres of land. So you come from black folks that was about ownership.
Okay.
And about having dignity in themselves.
Wow.
Because his grandfather owned 300 acres of land. Yeah, I will.
Please say that, Because, brother, we get the big, come on, y'all.
You know, Tupelo was owned by a black man. The land was his. It was a black man that his assistant stole it from his family. So the land that Tupelo is named, that was owned by a black man.
I didn't know.
And his assistant was a white dude that stole the land from the family. There was the people down there that were telling me, I said, interesting. But we own a lot of this stuff.
Oh yeah. Because like I said, my folks on the Johnson side, they came from Germantown,
They're all black people stuff. Right. We forget that.
And the white folks took their land from them. That's why a lot of them when they moved up to Orange Mound.
Right.
Folks, but hey, I didn't know that about Tupelo.
Yeah.
Hold on a second. Bev Johnson's your first name.
Hey, baby, David.
Okay, hold on, David.
Now that I'm towards the end of the career.
Well, I think money always makes your life better. I mean, more security for yourself or your family.
Before I go to David, Ron, I'm going to come back and let you talk a little bit more about the first annual. Okay, your festival. Because I know you got plenty of history. Are you a historian?
I guess I am by default. I got a pass. I hate to be called an expert. I always say I'm not an expert. I'm just a person that's passionate about learning about things that interest me.
I do too.
Yeah, because expert is like
that in school?
It's like I always had a passion for learning.
History.
Yeah, like my grandma.
I always liked history too. I didn't major in history, but
right.
I always had I like history, and I love.
You are a
history.
historian because like the work you doing. This is for like innovative. We always need to control our media because every great black leader we had understood the power of controlling their media platform.
And I when I got y'all's information and I see where because Nat D was so bad.
He was a great guy. He was a historian.
He was a big historian. He was a historian, and he talked about. And I was looking at this quote that
it was a powerful quote.
Nat D had put down by Jimmie LUNceford. Jimmie LUNceford was buried here in Memphis. The spot he occupied should have something of a special significance. He took a group of relative unsophisticated Memphis colored boys. I'm going to read this.
It's powerful.
And welded them into an organization which scaled the heights of musical eminence. He presented some musical by Negro orchestras.
He was a proud black man. They got him killed probably.
Huh?
He was a very proud black man. He didn't have no type of, what I'm saying? He just, like I talked to Catherine Perry Thomas from NASA's class 32.
Okay.
Her brother was Andrew Perry. He played in his high school band, ended up turning professional with the Jimmie LUNceford Orchestra. She said that it was not just a band, it was a rites of passage because them kids, by the time they graduated, they were like 30-year-old men. Like they were very mature and disciplined because he was a very mature guy. He didn't cuss. He didn't drink or smoke. He was a very tall, dark, and handsome dude that people like.
Wow.
Very sophisticated.
Now, do you all have pictures of him?
Yeah, it's pictures of him. You just Google it. I mean, he's very suave and, he's just an interesting dude.
Okay. I'm going to Google him. When you said about county was good. I know because I
Harold Jackman, that was his boy. Woo,
that
was his man.
But you know what, Ryan? There is nothing new under the sun.
No, it's not. It's always been like
that. People. Heterosexuals, homosexuals.
They always been around.
It's always been there. Even in the biblical times.
Right.
So there ain't nothing new.
There.
So I be thinking about why other people, come on, y'all.
Especially in the black church, though. We know we always had those in the black church.
Always, because I remember, I don't know, you're probably not as old as I am, but I remember my mother would tell my sister, You know, back in the day,
Right.
and they would whisper, sissy. You know what? Because that's what they said
Right,
back then.
right.
And that's his boyfriend.
That's right.
And
People know.
and we
They just kept it. They kept it.
but that's how
private,
it was. It wasn't out in the open.
No.
But my folks let us know. What is this and what is
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
Here we go, brother. You comfortable?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you.
Good morning and welcome back. We are giving you some Memphis history today. We are talking with Brother Ron Hurd. We like to call him Brother Ron Hurd.
Right.
His group is his nonprofit group, We All Be Group, and they are sponsoring the first annual Jimmie LUNceford Jamboree Festival Week. And before we go to our phone lines back again, Ron, tell us about why did you all decide to do this?
Okay, I think it was time to do that because I see now. I think what's going on right now that a lot of us are reactionary instead of being revolutionary and being planners and desires and dreamers and doers. This Confederate movement thing, to take down statues, I think that black folks should spend more of their energy behind manifesting what they want instead of protest. Don't protest, manifest. Don't complain, explain, and then do what you want to do. And I think instead of me worrying about dead white men and their statues, I'd rather resurrect the memory of the righteous ancestors who cared about their people, who served their people, who was committing to black excellence before there was a social media or internet.
You know what? And I heard Ron said that the other night, and it struck me, Ron, when you said, I said, you know what? You're right. Why are we so bogged up about the statues? And I understand that.
Right,
I get it. I get that. But people. And a person like a Jimmie LUNceford who taught at the Menanzas and folks who may not know him and how instrumental in black history he was, and he was as Ron said, he was a proud man, and he did for black folk.
That's right.
So and learning about this, I understand that people should know more about our history.
Definitely, they should, and I think, for example, we did some things earlier with the Fort Pillow massacre to commemorate the history of the Fort Pillow, the 300 black men and women and children that were massacred by General Nathan Bedford Forrest during the Civil War in Fort Pillow, Tennessee. We actually gave them a proper funeral this past April on the anniversary of the massacre. My group did, along with A.L.L, Memphis A.L.L, College G. Wilson's group. We had a 21 gun salute. We had the Marine plate taps. Memphis Police Department provided escort and a riderless horse. So, I mean, we are doing things. We want to not only just reclaim our time, but reclaim our narrative and reclaim our space and reclaim the names and the deeds of our ancestors so they'll be known for generations more. And also, we're in the process of renaming the Memphis International Airport after Jimmie LUNceford and Luke Weathers. Lieutenant Colonel Luke Weathers was a Booker T. Washington graduate class of 1939, one of the original Tuskegee Airmen, and also the first black air traffic controller in Memphis. So we got a petition on change.org to rename Memphis International after Jimmie LUNceford and Lieutenant Colonel Luke Weathers. And I think, why not? Because down in New Orleans, they got, Satchmo down there.
Yeah.
In Jackson, you got Medgar Evers. In Baltimore, Thurgood Marshall. Birmingham, Fred Shuttlesworth. I go on and on, but you actually got black aviation pioneers from Memphis, which is a predominantly black city. Why not have heroes when you come to the airport? You're entering LUNceford Weathers International Airport. Yeah. That sounds pretty good, right?
Yeah, and it sounds fabulous. But how many people know that we had black aviators? Well, we know about the Tuskegee Airmen, but then when you mention person here in Memphis,
right?
So we need that. So you all have a petition?
On change.org, and also I've been talking behind the scenes with the airport authority and other officials.
Okay. One of the things that I know you're doing the first annual, and you're doing it all at Manassas, right?
No, we did it. We opened it at Manassas.
Yesterday?
Yeah. And then
you talked to the students.
We talked to the students.
How did they react?
Oh, it was phenomenal. People said, well, they won't pay attention. It's like too long. we brought in the Overton Jazz Band because their music program is in a rebuilding mode right now.
Okay.
They just got a music teacher. You know, he was recovering from a long illness from last year. So hopefully they get back on track. But what we were trying to do is expose the children to their heritage. This is your legacy. This don't need to be this need to be a living one. We want to plant seeds in you all so you can carry on this rich tradition. I'm gonna tell you something about Manassas High School. Miles Davis in his autobiography, he talked about how he kept on getting all these side men from Memphis from this one school. Like, you know, George Coleman, Harold Mayburn. He talking about all the people that came out, Booker Little, you know, people like that. He said, why are they doing at this one school to produce these type of people? This is not a city. This is not a region. This is one school in a community. And not only that, Miles Davis, his music hero was Jimmie LUNceford.
Wow.
When he was growing up in East St. Louis, he used to listen to Jimmie LUNceford on the radio, broadcast live from the Cotton Club. Quincy Jones, too. Quincy Jones' teacher who taught him how to do a composition and arranging was Unzi Horn Sr. That's what his teaching.
Wow.
So Memphis is everywhere. When I tell people about Memphis, like Louis Armstrong, he can't happen without Memphis because here's the thing. His second wife, Lil Harder Armstrong, she is to me the godmother of modern jazz. She's from Memphis. She was the piano player for his mentor, King Oliver, up in Chicago. King Oliver told her one day, look, Louis is very talented. Louis Armstrong was the second cornet trumpet in his band. But when they used to record, Louis Armstrong's trumpet was so was commanding and loud, he had to stand like 20 feet behind everybody else when they did their recordings. And so King Oliver was saying, well, Lil, he's very talented, but he don't have the confidence to be number one. So you know how women get ambitious and, oh, okay, I can do something with him.
Yeah.
Because first she was really impressed with him because, he all country and got tight clothes. And he come on little. He ain't little. He's big or whatever. You know, I see some more potential in him. So she gave King Oliver Lewis walking papers, give him a makeover, organized the Hot 5 and Hot 7 recordings, which is the Rosetta Stone of jazz. Like, this is the foundation for modern jazz. Then sent them to New York City to be in Fletcher Henderson Band back in 1924, and the rest is history. Now, here's the thing about Memphis.
Okay.
Everywhere Lewis ran into Memphis folks that helped his career. Even when he was in Chicago, he used to play at the Vendome Theater, and the guy who ran the orchestra there was Erskine Tate. He was from Memphis. He used to play for W.C. Handy. Then he go to New York to rule jazz. The top trumpet player in New York was Johnny Dunn, a Memphian, who used to play for W.C. Handy. So everywhere he goes, Memphis cats you run into. Miles Davis said, 4 words. You want to know the history of jazz? 4 words.
What?
Louis Armstrong, Charlie Parker. Charlie Parker dad's from Memphis.
Wow.
So you got all these Memphis things. And you know, people all talking about the jazz. They think about New Orleans. They think about New York and Chicago. But Memphis is just as important as those cities to the cultivation and development of jazz. And don't get me started on saxophone guy. Sonny Chris. He's from Booker T. Washington. Grew up out in L.A. Man, Sonny Chris was Bird on it. I don't think he was copying Charlie Parker. He had this phenomenal sound. It's like Hank Crawford Jr.
Yeah.
One of the top saxophone players of all time. You listen to rap music. It's a song called Kanye West Drive Slow. And also Tupac, Shorty Wanna Be a Thug.
Yeah.
They both sampled Hank Crawford Jr.'s Wildflower. This guy was the longtime band director for Ray Charles.
Right.
So you got all these horn men coming out this place.
Coming out of Memphis, Tennessee.
Booker Little. He was Max Roach had Clifford Brown. Clifford Brown died real young at like 26 or 25. Then he had the good fortune to get a Booker Little.
Wow.
One of the greatest trumpet players who ever lived. Out of Memphis, Manassas High School. Then, who was teaching band back in the 50s at Manassas? Matthew Garrett, who was the father of Dee Bridgewater, who's from Memphis. So when those guys are coming through,
with this stuff.
Right, Charles Lloyd, all them guys coming through, these like semi-pro or they say professional musicians in high school.
Right.
But I talked to Charles Lloyd a couple of years ago. I had lunch with, I gave him lunch. He had more money I got, but I brought lunch for him.
Right.
And I said, man, why y'all was able to achieve? And they said, because he said the people believed in us. They believed in us. The teachers believed in us. Even with Isaac Hayes, Mr. Emerson Abel Jr. kicked him out the high school band in Manassas. But those teachers loved Isaac Hayes. They brought him clothes for school. They took care of him. So you had a community that was a village that believed in their people. So they never thought they were inferior. This was during the days of Jim Crow.
Yeah. Isn't that something?
Right.
Yeah. We are talking with Ron Hurd, a historian. I'm calling him a historian. His nonprofit group, We All Be Group, they're doing the first annual Jimmie LUNceford Jamboree. If you haven't heard that name, and as Ron had said earlier, Jimmie was the first
high school band director.
First high school band director in Memphis, Tennessee.
That's right.
The first who went on. Going to our phone lines at this time. You may have a question or two for Ron. 535-9342. 1-800-503-9342. Before we get to our phone lines, let me tell you how Jimmie LUNceford, if you haven't heard, that he was so popular and was loved by people, Ron. Even our own Nat D. Williams, and I'm gonna quote what Nat D. Williams wrote in a column. He was a syndicated columnist, and Nat D. This is what he said about Jimmie LUNceford. Nat D. Williams said, "Jimmie LUNceford was buried here in Memphis. The spot he occupies should have something of a special significance. He took a group of relatively unsophisticated Memphis colored boys and weld them into an organization which scaled the heights of musical eminence. He presented something new in the way of musical presentation by Negro orchestras. LUNceford and many others like him chose to remain at home and with their people. His death should have meaning and inspiration and guidance to others. If we permit it, LUNceford's burial in Memphis can mean this." Nat D. Williams. Wow. Going to our phone lines to talk with you. Good morning to you, David. I'm doing well, David, and yourself? Well, thank you.
Good morning, Brother David. Ken Burns. Ken Burns. Ken Burns.
He said Ken Burns. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, right. Right. As Ron said, yeah, before the internet and all this other stuff.
It was my favorite albums of all time. One of my favorite jazz albums. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm. Mm-hmm. Mm.
Well, let me tell you this. I know where Menances is. My great aunt taught at Menances. Etta Boyd. Etta Boyd was a teacher at Menances during the same time that A.C. Williams, Muha Williams was there. So I know about Menances. That is in North Memphis. I know where it is, brother.
Hank Crawford Jr. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Thank you, David.
Oh,
yeah, go on and Brother Ron, you all are not only this is the week you're doing, so tell our listeners other places, David, that you can get more information.
Yeah,
doing. Yeah,
I want to thank Brother David for his insight. I very much appreciate it. Today, actually, you could meet me. We're gonna do a thing at the Memphis Library, the Ben Hooks branch on 3030 Poplar Avenue, from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. It's called Memphis Rhythm Was His Business, a Jimmie LUNceford discussion, excuse me.
Oh,
it's going to be I would say, an all-star panel of people. Like,
who's on that panel?
Dr. Kenneth Whalum Jr., excuse me. Carla Thomas.
Oh, yeah.
Dr. John Bass, director of the Mike Curb Institute at Rhodes College. Dr. James Golson, who was the first black music professor at the University of Memphis, who's also the proud father of Drummer Boy, one of the top hip-hop producers in the country. Brother Ekpe Abioto, very much a community artist and activist in his own right, and some other people as well.
Okay.
Oh, Phil Joyner, who is the band director at Overton High School. He performed for no kids at Manassas, was phenomenal. He also fly airplanes.
Wow.
He's a band director who flies airplanes like Jimmie LUNceford. So there's gonna be some more people there, but you should come on by. It's free and open to the public in the Memphis Room, 4th floor at the Ben Hooks Library, 3030 Poplar Avenue, from 6 to 8 p.m. today.
It sounds good. We're talking about Memphian Jimmie LUNceford today. Brother Ron Hurd is here. I know you have a question or two, boy. They want to talk to you, brother.
Okay. Bring it on.
Bring it on. 535-9342. 1-800-503-9342. We'll get you in to us. You're listening to The Bev Johnson Show on WDIA.
Don't go away. The Bev Johnson Show returns after these messages.
This report is brought to you by Chili's new burgers, ribs, and fajita.
I was going to go to the phone lines blindly, but you know, sometimes I get some crazy folks.
Oh, I know.
I said let me get, but they line up to that, boy.
Oh, really?
And that's a good thing, Ron.
That's a good thing.
When my phones light up.
See, I want to touch on that Confederate thing because some people don't talk about it.
Okay, let's talk. We'll talk on that.
Yeah, but thank you so much for your platform. I appreciate it.
Bev Johnson Show, first name?
To the one and only Mr. Entertainment tonight.
All right, hold on, brother.
How you doing?
I'm doing fine. Hold on. Bev Johnson Show, first name?
It's Chaplain coming, Bill.
Okay, Chaplain, hold on now.
All right.
Bev Johnson Show, first name?
I was about to hang up on my government phone. I was here 15
Well, you better hang on up, sister. Then just listen.
You be playing that good music, Bob be playing that. Bob be playing that good music. Stand there. Why don't you take some of that good stuff out of your boy so he can quit playing all the blues songs and we can bang?
Well, you come late. We do be dancing. I ain't studying you. Are you going to talk or you going to hang up?
It'd be one or two good bands.
Oh, no, it ain't, nigga. You want to talk? You want to talk, sister? Okay, hold on. Gee, the Mapco lady. Bev Johnson's
favorite Mapco lady.
Show, first name? Hello?
Hello?
Yes, your first name?
Grover.
Is who?
Mosley.
Grover. Grover Mosley.
Mosley. Mr. Mosley. Hold on, Mr. Mosley.
I am.
Okay.
Wow.
You
That's
know
a
these
man.
schools?
Yeah, I know Grover Mosley.
Oh, okay.
He's a very passionate Lunsford man.
Bev Johnson Show, first name?
Hey, girl, this comment man.
Hold on, comment man. Grover Mosley.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Thank you.
Your show just an hour. It's popular.
No, I go to 1 o'clock. How long can you stay?
I stay as long as you want me to
Okay,
stay.
then. Hey, well, hey, if you know, because this is good history, and like I said, I'm a history buff. Because if you leave, I just open up and they call it. But this is.
Well, I'm gonna tell you about the Confederate thing when they're not talking about why.
Okay, let's talk about that.
I ain't know if I had no time to get into it. I didn't want to take away from
Okay.
the.
We're gonna get to these phone lines, and then we'll let you get into the Confederate stuff. Yeah.
Is it possible to get a copy of the show, an audio copy of?
You know what I usually do, Ron, is I'm gonna put it on my blog.
Okay.
So you'll be able to take it out off the.
Okay.
You'll be able to list, but it'll be on my blog, and I don't never take it off. So
I can just download it from there.
Yeah. You can download it from there. Yeah, because I'm recording it. But
Do it be on like? Well, how soon is it available after the show?
I'm gonna try to put on this evening.
I'm gonna try.
You trying to rush me, bro?
Nah, I ain't trying to rush you. I would ask you.
But what I do, yeah, but you'll go to my WDIA and check blogs, and then go to my blog. But I get on. I try to get on this because I usually want to take a selfie with you, and then I'll put it on Facebook and say, go to my website, and listen to the show. That gets them to draw them back.
I think you should share your
iHeartMedia
platform.
wants us to do that,
You get all social media savvy. I'm just now getting the Instagram.
Man,
it's kind of addictive, but I hate the fact you just got to do everything on
You know
your
what?
phone.
I'm learning because iHeartMedia wants us to
want y'all
learn
to do
all
that.
this stuff.
Well, you learn. You know how you can learn.
I'm an old woman, so
you're not old.
Here we go, brother. I'm gonna go to Mr. Mosley first. Grover Mosley, huh? Okay,
Yeah.
Here we go.
Very passionate Lunsford guy.
He ain't gonna talk about that. Good morning and welcome back. We are talking history. We're talking some good musical history and Memphis history today. My guest is Mr. Ron Hurd, historian, and he is founder of We All Be. It's a non-profit group. They are sponsoring the first annual Jimmie LUNceford Jamboree Festival this week. And Jimmie LUNceford, the first band director at Manassas High School. Going to our phone lines to talk with you. Good morning to you, Mr. Mosley. How you doing? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Wow. Didn't know that. Wow. Brother Hurd, what say, Mr. Mosley?
I don't know, Mr. Mosley. I thank you for calling in. He's very much a passionate advocate for Jimmie LUNceford. But the thing about that's in dispute now. I don't know. Like, history is interesting. Like, he who wins the war gets to tell the tale. And my understanding is Jimmie LUNceford actually died in Seaside, Oregon, July 12th, 1947, before a concert under questionable circumstances. The reason why I say that, you could Google it up. And I went up to Seaside, Oregon, this past July on the anniversary of his death. Now, Oregon's interesting because Oregon's the only state in the Union. When it became a state back in 1859, it had in its constitution that black people could not live, work, or own property in Oregon. So Jimmie LUNceford went up there. It wasn't necessarily black friendly, but it did outlaw slavery, but he went up there. And the way the story goes, from my understanding doing the research, is that he wanted to be served hamburgers at this restaurant in Seaside, Oregon, which is a beach resort town in Oregon. They refused to serve him, He got angry about it, and the manager came back and said, "Look, we don't have hamburgers, but we have beef sandwiches." So him and the people in his band who ate the sandwiches, they ate them. He was signing autographs at a music store before his gig, and dropped dead while signing autographs. And his band did not know about it until almost halfway through the show. And a lot of them end up leaving the bandstand and going to the restroom and being sick, whoever ate those sandwiches. And now this is like from several sources. And I talked to people. I actually talked to a woman when I was there. She was at Jimmie LUNceford's band's show the night he died. She was a white woman. So there's a lot of things that come up that people have disputes about the way he died and how he died. But the thing about it was the newspaper from that time said that he died in Seaside, Oregon. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Mr. Mosley. Bye-bye. Wow, Brother Hurt, that's interesting on how, and so is Jimmie buried in Memphis?
He's buried in Elmwood Cemetery. Yeah. And I want to tell people about this. We talk about the Confederacy.
Yeah.
Herman Frank Leonard, the composer of Dixie, is also buried in Elmwood Cemetery. Mm-hmm. He actually played that for the inauguration of Confederate President Jefferson Davis down in Montgomery. So you got Herman Frank Leonard, who's buried the same place as Jimmie LUNceford, who's a Memphis music education legend, and also the real king of swing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Didn't know that.
But it's dispute about how he died. People think he was murdered. Jimmie LUNceford was murdered because he was poisoned. And people say that the food was tainted. Wow. They don't know it was on purpose because a couple nights before they played in Portland, they went to a restaurant next door. Like I said, Portland or Oregon is the only state in the country they had in its constitution that black folks cannot live, work, or own property there. And you didn't have black folks moving into Oregon until really close to World War II because of the military industry complex and all that stuff. And so they were playing a gig and they went to the restaurant next door and the restaurant refused to serve them. And they refused to leave the restaurant. Then the restaurant called the police. Police came in. The white patrons said, "Hey, these are some good people. They just want to feed. They just want to eat. They're not causing trouble." So the police gave the restaurant two choices. Y'all can either serve these guys or shut the whole place down. They shut the restaurant down.
Wow.
They didn't want to serve Jimmie LUNceford.
History. Chaplain Cummins. How you doing, Chaplain? I hear you, brother. You did. 1 through 12. Wow. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Wow. Mm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm. Yeah, right. Yes. Hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Mm-hmm. Mm. I'm glad you said it because that's great history,
That
Chaplain
is.
Cummins. Thank you. All right. Bye-bye. Great history.
Yeah, I also want to add Merrick McLeod Bethune actually spoke at a joint graduation for Manassas and Hamilton either in 1947 or 1948
Wow.
at Mason Temple.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. WDIA, Prince of the Charles. I'm doing well, and yourself?
I'm great, man. Thank you for asking. Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm working on several books right now. I've been approached by a couple of university presses to write a book about Jimmie LUNceford. Everything.
You have to look it up, brother.
Okay. I actually do have my own alternate media site called We All Be TV. It's on YouTube. I have done a lot of interviews with Dick Gregory. Before I knew him for 6 years. I got hours and hours of interviews.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also Judge Joe Brown and other people. Like I talk about different types of history on my YouTube channel. It's We All Be TV. Look it up. I'm in the process of working on several books, but you can reach me out on We All Be TV on YouTube to see some. We All Be WEALL. Yes, sir.
We all be. Just like we all be.
We All Be TV. Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
What did he leave out?
Mm-hmm. I'm still there. I was letting you talk. I want to listen to what he had to say. It's very important. I also, go ahead. I'm sorry. On my YouTube channel, I got a whole playlist dedicated to the Fort Pillow Massacre. I have interviewed Andrew Ward, who wrote The River Runs Red. We talked about the Fort Pillow Massacre. I can't give you all the things I know within just 2 hours. You know what I'm saying? This is years of research. I've been knowing about the Fort Pillow Massacre ever since I was in elementary school. Not because they taught me, but because my grandma had a World Book Black History Encyclopedia from the 70s in her home. So I knew about Nathan Bedford Forrest when I was 10 years old, along with Emmett Till and all this stuff. With that said, there were way more blacks killed at Fort Pillow than white soldiers were. Way more. 300. Not only were they soldiers, but it was women and children that were massacred. Abraham Lincoln sent a congressional inquiry down to Fort Pillow to interview people. You got primary sources online from both sides that said it was a massacre. It was a massacre. It was overkill. Because them soldiers was trying to surrender. They got drowned in Mississippi River. They were getting their eyes gouged out. They were skinned alive. They were buried alive. They were set on fire. But they didn't do the same to the white soldiers. A lot of white soldiers survived. It were way more black soldiers and black people that were killed at Fort Pillow. And I'm going to touch upon Nathan Bedford Forrest. Because people, we got to have an education. Like, we talking about that monument down there on Union Avenue. That's not only a monument. Well, let me finish back today. I got to tell y'all something because I'm not hearing people talk about this and being honest about it. Because the brother earlier, Brother David talked about he don't want to be an and or or. But it's about strategy. It's about tactics. You got to understand what you're dealing with. That statue, that monument on Union Avenue is the crown jewel of white supremacy. I call it white inferiority because it's not really supreme. But it's the crown jewel because I say this because you got the first Grand Wizard remains buried underneath that statue. They've been in that space since 1904, but that statue was erected. It was made in Italy back in 1905. And it's facing southward. They turned that statue to face south for a reason. But right across the street is the Free Scottish Rite building. Let me tell you a little story. Albert Pike. Albert Pike is the only Confederate general with a monument in Washington, D.C. Albert Pike was not even from the proper South. Like Malcolm said, anything south of Canada is the South. He was from Boston, Massachusetts. It's like this big Paul Bunyan, Santa Claus looking dude with a beard, over 300 pounds, over 6 feet tall. He was the chief brigadier general for the Confederacy. He was over the Cherokee Nation. People don't know that Cherokee Indians owned slaves. Just a month or so ago, they lost a legal battle in court that they had to pay the descendants of the free men, of the black folks. They had to be indoctrinated into the nation and get all their rights and reparations. I want us to know that because a lot of us don't know that history. Even though we got all this technology, we don't know how to research for it. But let me tell you about Albert Pike. Albert Pike used to live in Memphis back in the 1860s. He was the controller of the Democratic Party here in Memphis. He is the founder of the Ku Klux Klan. The Ku Klux Klan is a Democratic Party invention. He was the founder, and his friend was Nathan Bedford Forrest, who was the first Grand Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan. Is it a coincidence that his monument is right across the street from that Scottish Rite building?
Wow. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we know that. All right. Thanks, Prince.
Thank you. You too.
You too. We are talking this day, if you've just tuned in, historian and Ron Hurd is here. We are talking about the first annual Jimmie LUNceford Festival also, but Ron's giving us a little history lesson in here. We love that too. You may have a question or two. 535-9342 is our number. 1-800-503-9342 will get you in to us. We're going to the other side of the Bev Johnson Show on WDIA. Good.
I mean, like, I just want to give you a chance to.
Whether you're in Arkansas, Tennessee, or Mississippi, on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, thank you for listening to the Bev Johnson Show on WDIA Memphis.
Small business never slows down. So Dell's dedicated U.S.-based advisors are ready to help.
That's good. That was good.
He also was third degree Mason. I forgot to mention like Albert Pike. But I mean, we don't know.
Get back,
Yeah. But I would say he was talking about, I would try to give a brief thing.
Yeah.
You know, I ain't trying to say it, but it wasn't that many whites got killed.
Yeah, I know, because
you got to say, it was a massacre.
Okay, when you talk about black folks, I want to, you know.
Right.
Come on, we know and I know it wasn't that many white folks.
And Fort Pillow was not supposed to be open. It was country, but they were running drugs like cotton. It was like the drugs back in the day. They were like the cocaine.
What?
It was supposed to be closed, but the white folks wanted to make money off the black market.
Let's mention that. Okay,
yeah.
Okay, hold on. Bev Johnson Show, first name?
Luther.
Luther. Hold on, Luther. Yeah, we need to talk about that, too.
I mean, my thing is, I don't care about moving. I just don't want to pay taxes on the statue. How about that? Now let them pay the money privately.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that's what we paying on?
We're paying for the upkeep on that statue, the police protection, all that stuff.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But they raise the money privately, and I've been down there every year. Sunday before his birthday, July 13th, you got 1,000 white folks come from around the country to honor him.
Right.
So I've been going out there for the last 3 years, talking to them and documenting it, and getting their point of view, and also engaging them.
Okay.
So people don't know that Nathan Bedford Forrest's great-great-grandson is Douglas Turner Ward, who is the founder of the Negro Ensemble Company, who discovered Denzel Washington, Samuel Jackson, all those people. So that's his great-great-grandfather. So I'm going to talk about that. Well, I will back for the claim.
And I appreciate the hell. I didn't know, you know.
Because his great-great-grandma was his mistress, or concubine. She was his slave mistress, and she ran away from him during the war to Louisiana to have, you know, his kinfolk.
Right. Wow.
Yeah. It's like a Jewish person claiming that Hitler was their granddaddy or something. Why would a Jewish person claim that?
Golly. That's good.
He's a father of private prison, so he got, like, black convict labor contracts to work President A.L.L. So, you know, and then his living legacy, he had the market on Adams Street, and you got the juvenile court on Adams Street.
Right.
So that's like, his legacy is alive and well in terms of terrorizing black folks.
Wow. Isn't that something?
Yeah, well, we always taking our...
Well, you know what, Brother Hurry, but you giving a lot of folks a history lesson. But watch this evening, they're going to come kind, they're going to be talk. You know, they always talk in the morning. But you giving folks some history that they don't know. That's what
you got a powerful platform.
You know, that's good. And that's good. Get these folks, black folks, they be killing me. Giving them some history today.
I just want them to research, like, you know, like Rover, he keep on saying that. I said, it's not...
You know,
it runs contrary.
Because we hear a lot of stuff, but like you said, if you research, and I'm glad you said, well, I went to Oregon.
Yeah, and I researched, and I saw the program.
There's some black folks up there now.
Oh, man, Portland, man.
You know what?
I think seen 20 black people on Portland.
And you're right about that they didn't let black folks.
It's beautiful up there, but ain't hardly no black folks. Not even in Portland.
Black folks ain't going up there.
Yeah, but it's beautiful up there, though.
I know.
It's gorgeous.
They
why they white man's land.
I know.
Idaho and all those places.
In Portland, black folks, but they ain't gonna have a lot.
Ain't hard no black folks in Portland.
Really?
It's beautiful. It's hard no black folks. I don't think I saw 20 black folks in Portland. I'm saying it's like I don't know what to make of this place. I ain't picking no weird vibe or nothing like that.
But you know what? And who was that? Because I listen to Tom Joyner in the morning, and he, you know, and every day Tom, I love what he does. Look Black history. Yeah. But he talked about the Cherokee Indians. They did this what I had slaves.
They had slaves. That's why they were mad when they had to go on the Trail of Tears. Cause, hey, we just like y'all. You know, we gotta leave.
Right. You know, and people that I said, you know, folks are, you know, I got Indian in my blood.
Yeah, I wonder why. You like white people in your blood. How you get that
in? Cherokee.
Because they lost their law. They didn't even talk about it. They didn't really make news.
You know what? I had researched some stuff. In matter of fact, I got it home on the Cherokee Indians and stuff. And I go like, whoa. And then how the white folks did them. Yeah. Sent their ass on out west.
Yeah, you ain't no better. You still ain't white.
Right. You ain't no
These got white folks claiming to be Indians on because like Donald Trump be telling the truth about that. You know what I'm saying? Like Elizabeth Warren called Pocahontas, you ain't really an Indian, man. Got all the benefit. They be tripping out with that stuff.
Right, I know.
But we are natives, though. I mean, we are Aboriginal. A lot of us was already here before the slave ships. That's what they don't talk about.
Right, they don't.
And a lot of us don't understand that. They'll be like, oh, you really was everywhere. Columbus even said black folks everywhere.
Yeah, black folks, right.
Yeah, we always been over here.
But they don't know that. They just, you know what, and they think about, because you think about, brother, I mean, all the other, the Caribbean countries, all them countries and stuff with black folks.
Right. Maroons, all that.
You know, they had black folks there.
Yeah, you can't get away from it.
Can't get away from black folk.
You look at Russia, the father of Russian literature is Alexander Pushkin. His grandfather was a gift to Peter the Great Hannibal Petrovich, who organized the Russian Imperial Army. But he's a literary giant. He always talked about his African heritage. And also he's a member of the royal family, the European royal family. You know, Queen Charlotte, the wife of King George III, who was ruler during the Revolutionary War, she was black from the House of Mecklenburg. Charlotte's named after her. The Queen said, she's a black woman. Look at her portrait. She looked black.
Wow.
Nappy hair, broad nose, big lips. Or kinky hair.
Right.
Yeah.
If you need extra cash fast, go to 27cash.com. Just have a checking account and a regular source of income. Go to 27cash.com and you can get the loan you need now, regardless of your credit. Go to 27cash.com from your smartphone or computer to get the cash you need.
I'm loving this history lesson.
Yeah, I'm also working on a documentary about Jimmie LUNceford, yeah. I'm working on a documentary about Jimmie LUNceford, too.
That'd be good.
Yeah, it's needed.
It's needed.
Gives you entertainment your way. So use our message in a more entertaining way.
Give me what I want, or you'll never see your sidekick again. Give him what he wants, Mac.
What do you want?
An unlimited data plan that gives
So you all got the thing this evening.
Yeah,
and do you all have something else going on?
Yeah, tomorrow we have like Memphis Musician Court, the honor ensemble Memphis musicians. Our king is Floyd Newman, queen is Earlis Taylor, and our posthumous king and queen is Emerson Abel Jr. and Ruby Wilson. Okay. So we try to get on the Memphis musicians, the old days.
Mr. Newman, that's my church member.
Yeah, he got a lot of Isaac Hayes stories, man. He is
I know.
He's a walking encyclopedia.
I said, Mr. Newman, I had to get you on the show, and I keep thinking
you should get him on the show.
I know.
He don't want to be on the show?
I don't know if he do or not.
I think he want to be on the show.
You think so?
He got so much to say. He's like one of the last two living people from that B.B. King tour.
You know
him
what?
And George
I
Coleman.
need to get Mr. Newman. And you right, brother.
He 86.
I saw Mr. Newman Sunday night. But you know what? I got to get a day to get him on here.
I think he'll be honored to be on.
Oh yeah,
I know he would be honored. He should have wrote a book a long time ago. He just got too much of it. He the man that discovered Isaac Hayes, but nobody was. You know, Isaac Hayes was raggedy, but he was only playing piano with one hand. But he said that's the most musically complete person he ever met in his life. He had perfect pitch and everything.
Wow.
The way he talked about his arranging process is amazing. But he said he was just sad how the city never honored Isaac like they should have honored him. Him and Mr. Abel were very much advocates for Isaac Hayes.
Right.
He was a brilliant musician. Just ahead of his time.
Yeah, ahead of his time.
Duralast batteries are proven tough in the most extreme conditions.
But he got so much to say. I'm surprised he haven't wrote a book.
Mr. Newman.
Yeah, he just got a lot of
I'm glad you told me that. I'm gonna stop waiting because
he get up there. I mean, he almost 90, right?
No, I didn't talk to Mr. Newman.
I went to his house the other day. I didn't know what to expect. He didn't want me to leave. I ain't want to leave either. But we had to. You gotta go sometime, man.
Did you film him?
Yeah, yes, man.
Good.
But you should get him down because you won't regret it. There's so much information.
Thank you. I know because he got some stories.
Yeah, he got a lot of great stories.
Because he played with B.B. King.
He was the first one hired on that original tour.
Right.
And one of the last two still living, him and George Coleman. He got George Coleman to switch from alto to tenor saxophone.
Wow.
So he was an amazing talent scout and developer. You know, the original Memphis horns.
Right.
First person hired Isaac Hayes to give him a gig where Isaac was just playing with his left hand on piano. But he knew how gifted he was, you know. Wow. So Floyd is an interesting guy.
I didn't know. I didn't even know Mr. Newman was a school teacher too.
Yeah, he in that Lunceford mode. You know, educator, extraordinary band leader. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm so glad you said that. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna get Mr. Newman. I'm gonna get him on the show. You know, because I've been saying I'm gonna do that.
Yeah, please do. Especially you gonna.
I know. You know, I be saying that. And I was like, hey, sister.
How you doing?
Huh?
I just want to say hi.
Oh, okay. Hey. You know, but I'm gonna do that. You know, I'm gonna stop waiting around to do that.
You ever try to get Al Green? Have you ever interviewed Al Green?
No, I have never.
It's hard to get him.
I know his jab. I know it's hard to get him. You're right.
I gave him a war. His dude tried to stop me. He's like, "Go ahead, brother." He got so many people coming to his church. He does a great church service, though.
Right. Hold on, here we go. It's hard to get Al Green.
Yeah, it is hard. I guess long
Good afternoon and welcome back to WDIA. We are talking history today, musical history, especially about Jimmie LUNceford. He is the first black band leader, Manassas High School, and other history stuff we're talking. Had Brother Ron Hurd, a historian, and he is also executive director of We All Be Group, his nonprofit organization that gives you all of this history. And we're talking history, and it's so interesting. We're talking about a lot of good things. We were just sitting here talking about one of my church members, but we'll talk about that later. 535-9342 is our number. 1-800-503-9342 will get you in to us. Hold on. We're going to get more to history this afternoon, but I have to get to this. Have to tell you about this. You know, it's always hope. And when I'm telling you about hope, if you are looking for a financial partner that will listen to all your needs and identify solutions financially for you, look no further than Hope Credit Union. Let me tell you about Hope Credit Union, y'all. Hope Credit Union is making financial dreams come true for all of their members. And Hope Credit Union serves people that have had a previous banking relationship as well as those that have been unbanked. And Hope Credit Union has great products like checking and savings, personal, auto, home loans, credit cards, much, much more. Convenient services like mobile and online banking that will help you manage your finances when you're ready, no matter where you are. And once you become a member of Hope, you gain access to a team of friendly, experienced professionals that will take out the time to listen to all your needs and find the right solutions just for you. And becoming a member, it is hassle-free. Let me tell you how easy it is. Go to their website at www.hopecu.org. That's hopecu.org. Now listen here. If you don't have a computer, you want to do that, you want to talk to somebody in person, good. 3 locations in Memphis: 3048 Harvester Lane, 1451 Madison Avenue, 2923 Ridgeway Road. We're across the bridge in West Memphis at 1114 Missouri Street and 11495 Old Highway 61 North in Tunica, Mississippi. So what are you waiting for? Become a member of Hope Credit Union today. Hope Credit Union, better banking, better lives. All right, brother. Let me get these phones. These folks want to talk to you.
All right.
Bev Johnson Show, first name. Hold on now.
Yes, ma'am.
Bev Johnson Show, first name.
Lawrence.
Lawrence, hold on now.
Thank you, man.
Here we go. Okay. Brother Ron Hurd is here, and we are talking history. And Ron, the first festival of Jimmie LUNceford, I know you have the thing at the library tonight. That is going to be great, I know. Ooh, yeah. And then you got something else going on.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Tomorrow, Wednesday, we're going to have the first Jimmie LUNceford Jamboree Festival Musicians Court at Old Daisy Theater on Bill from 6 to 9 p.m. It is free and open to the public. We're going to give honor to the unsung Memphis musician. I read somewhere once that Memphis got more musicians per capita than any place in the country.
Wow.
And we did a lot to contribute to the life and cultural identity of this republic known as the United States of America. So we'll give honor to the people. Our homecoming court consists of the king will be Floyd Newman.
That's my church member.
Church member, brilliant Floyd Newman.
Yeah.
Original Memphis horn, the founder and developer of the one great legacy of Isaac Hayes, and also Sister Queen Erlise Taylor. They the king and queen of the court. Then the prince and princess is Dr. Bill Hurd, another phenomenal person.
Yeah.
And Sister Sequita McKinley. That's the prince and princess of the court. Then the posthumous king and queen will be Mr. Emerson Abel Jr. and Sister Ruby Wilson.
Wow.
So cool. Also we got a court of this. You know, if you're a Memphis musician and you love Memphis music and our history, show up at the Old Daisy. It's free, open to the public. There'll be food and cake.
That's tomorrow.
It's tomorrow, and music. And live music.
Again, that starts at 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock.
I like that. That's great. I like Mr. Newman is fabulous.
He's
is fabulous.
Wonderful man.
Yeah, he is. I'm gonna get him on the show. We're gonna talk.
Yes,
Going back to our phone lines to talk with you, Common Man. I'm doing well, Common Man.
Herd like a herd of cattle.
Yeah.
I'm good. I'm honored, man. It's good to hear from you. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Mm. Mm-hmm. Mm.
All right. Thank you, Common Man. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Hi, Luther. I hear you loud and clear.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Right. Mm-hmm.
Mm. I didn't know. Well, thank you. Mm-hmm. Martin Stadium, downtown, not down.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Brother Torchlight. Walaikum Salam. Brother Ron, also, when we were talking about, and I was just, in Menanzas, do they have a picture of Jimmie LUNceford in there? Or in the high school, or do they have one? Or
I know they have a Hall of Fame. I have not seen a picture of Mr. LUNceford there, but it probably will change very soon.
Okay. Because you said he was a handsome man?
Oh, yeah. He was a tall, dark, and handsome brother, very athletic build.
Okay.
A true gentleman. Wow. And, Jimmie LUNceford is interesting because he was in Memphis the same time as Sister Mary Lou Williams. Mm-hmm. Now, she's the mother of modern jazz. Mm-hmm. Sister Mary Lou Williams was a piano prodigy. She was married to John Williams at the time, a saxophonist. So when her husband used to leave Memphis or whatever, Jimmie would sit in with her band. Mm. But she is the woman who gave the foundation to the bebop or modern jazz movement. People like Thelonious Monk, Bud Powell, Charlie Parker, Dizzy Gillespie all would come to her apartment in New York City to learn about harmony and other things in music. But she was a phenomenal woman. Ended up moving to Kansas City to join the Annie Kirk Clouds of Joy. Annie Kirk grew up with Jimmie LUNceford in Denver, and they both had the same music teacher, Wilberforce Whiteman.
Wow.
So it's two of the greatest swing band leaders of their era, both had the same music teacher.
You know what's interesting, and we go back, and it's so crazy today, Brother Ron, when people still ask about education, and education is not... But when you talk about a Jimmie LUNceford and those people in that area, they went to school.
They valued it, yeah.
They valued education.
Mm-hmm.
They went to school.
That's right.
And it just amazes me when we think we have a rich history.
Mm-hmm.
And you were also telling me, and I want you to mention that we were talking more about Fort Pillow, something else you were adding.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you wanted to tell our listeners about that.
Well, Albert Pike, the guy who founded the Klan, who lived in Memphis, who was friends with Nathan Bedford Forrest, he's a 33rd degree Freemason. So I'm saying, when you think about that horse statue, that equestrian statue downtown, look across the street there's the Scottish Rite Freemason building. And understand that relationship of that piece. My thing is, the statue don't really bother me. I don't want to pay taxes on the upkeep.
Okay.
The money was raised privately to, erect that statue.
Okay.
And for the last 3 years, I've been going down there because I want to let people know. Because I never see black folks around. They always stumbling. What's going on with all these white people with Confederate flags? It's a black city. Come on, y'all. Every Sunday before his birthday, every year for the last 112 years, the sons, the daughters of the Confederacy and other white nationalist groups have been meeting at that place to honor Nathan Bedford Forrest. So every Sunday before his birthday is July 13th. So the Sunday before his birthday, between the hours of 1 and 4 o'clock, they meet down there about 100, sometimes about 1,000. A lot of Confederate flags, guns, German Shepherds, watermelon. They like watermelon too. And they call Forrest water, bottled water. They have their Civil War reenactors with horses and guns. And they give them 21 gun salute. So I want to let people know that for the last 3 years, I've been covering it on my media platform. If you go to my We All Be TV channel, I got a Fort Pillow Massacre playlist. All the things I've been doing on the last several years from giving presentations at historical conferences, nationally, to also interacting with those people, not obstructing their right of freedom of speech and expression, but trying to understand their point of view.
Okay.
And this is what they do. They are good at spin, because when you go down there, these are not just motorcycle gang people or Klans people. These are professional men and women. These are business owners. These are political leaders. These are professionals. These are educators that be down there every year. And they'll say stuff like, well, Nathan Bedford Forrest was the first civil rights leader. Back in July 4th of 1875, I believe, before the Pole Bearers Association, which was the forerunner of the NAACP. He gave a speech that said, well, I believe blacks and whites could get along, and that blacks should be allowed to excel at the highest level possible. And then a black woman gave him a bouquet and kissed him on the cheek. He said, my God, I love flowers. What I do love more is chocolate. Thank you, child. So they'll use that speech. But also, he's the father of private prisons, because after the war, he got a black convict labor contract with the county to use black convict labor, to work President A.L.L. So he's the father of private prison. He had the largest slave market in the country on Adams Street. What's on Adams Street now? Juvenile court. So his legacy is very much alive. It is truly systemic terrorism at its finest.
Wow. And another thing, we were talking, and Brother Ron said Fort Pillow. You said it was like a drug kind of place. What were you talking about? It kind of not drugs, but you.
Well, the drug of the day was cotton.
Yeah, the drug of the day back then.
It wasn't heroin. It wasn't cocaine. It was cotton. It was the drug of the day.
Okay,
that's why they was fighting. One of the reasons, but it was ordered closed by the Union. They didn't serve any.
Pillow.
Yeah, it didn't serve any value to their military tactics or strategy, but they had it open because they were controlling the black market there, running cotton through there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Illegally.
Yeah.
Cotton. That cotton.
Cotton is king. Yeah, right.
WDIA. Hi, caller. Oh, okay, Lawrence. Hey, Lawrence.
Oh, yes. Hear from you, bro. Thank you for calling in. Uh-huh. All right. Yes, sir. Thank you so
Lawrence. Bye-bye.
Brother Lawrence Wayne. He's a good brother.
Yeah, I love Lawrence. And tonight, Ron, they will be at the public library.
Right, the Ben Hooks Library from 6 to 8, free at the Memphis room, 4th floor.
All right. WDIA. Hi, caller. Hey.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right. That's right.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
yes, sir. We
Everybody
did.
keep on bringing them up, man. We ain't gonna forget about them.
Yeah, we did mention Hank Crawford. Yes, sir. Thank you, Carl. Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah.
Uh-huh.
But no, we talk about history, but Luther mentioned that just a few minutes ago as well. Yeah. Martin Staten. Mm-hmm. Professor Hayes. Okay, at Manansel. Okay. Thank you, caller. Bye-bye. Boy, this history is coming out because I remember hearing about Martin Stadium and all that.
Yeah. The Martin brothers, they're buried in Elmwood, not that far away from Jimmie LUNceford.
Oh, really?
By the church mausoleum, yeah.
I'll have to go there. Well, you know what? Next time I'm over there, because my parents are buried there.
Elmwood's a beautiful place just to have lunch.
Elmwood is a beautiful place. That's why I want to be buried.
Yeah, it's a nice place to be buried.
My parents are over there. But so I have to go because they will do historical tours at Elmwood.
Yeah, I did. I read at the Jimmie LUNceford down for about 600 plus people a couple weeks ago. Maybe a week or so ago, yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. WDIA, hi caller. I'm doing fine, and you, Bootsy?
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Wow.
Thank you for calling. Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye-bye. WDIA, hi caller. What's up, Joe Willie?
Thank you, sir. How you doing?
Yeah. What to do with it, Joe? Oh. Right, exactly.
Yeah, that's right.
How much? Well, let me ask Brother Ron. So Nathan and his wife, they wanted to be buried.
Yeah, it is a will.
That was in his
last will. Yeah,
so
he wanted to be buried in
Elmwood Cemetery.
Right, he was there.
Did you hear that, Joe Willie? All right, Joe. Huh? You still on there, brother? Uh-huh. Thank you, Joe. Bye-bye. We're getting a history lesson today. We appreciate you. Mr. Ron Hurd is here. We're talking about Jimmie LUNceford, if you haven't heard about him, and what they're doing, the first annual festival. I like it. I like it. 535-9342 is our number. 1-800-503-9342 will get you in to us. You're listening to WDIA.
You're listening to the Queen of Talk on WDIA.
This report is brought to you by Dell. Small business.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, I like it. They call it pretty cool.
Huh?
They pretty cool people. They eclectic.
Yeah. they are trip. They're trip. Bev Johnson show first name.
Hey, baby, say it again. Hit me anytime. If not.
Okay, hold on, David. Hold on, baby. Hold on. Bev Johnson show first name.
Hey, this is Shorty Mac, baby. How you doing?
This is who?
Shorty Mac.
Oh, okay. Hold on, Shorty Mac.
What do you know, babe?
I don't know nothing. Hold on, brother. Hold on now.
All right, I want to say a few words.
Okay.
I appreciate it.
Okay, hold on, Shorty Mac. Hold on.
And now?
They got these names though.
Yeah,
Shorty Mac.
Black folks around. We earn our nicknames. Yeah. We ain't called Shorty Mac for a reason.
You know, Shorty Mac. That's good. Brother Ron, you've been gone a while and you come back to Memphis, or?
I be going where I be traveling and coming back there.
Okay.
Yeah.
This your home, huh?
It's my home, but I just be like to go on the road and just be.
I don't blame you.
That's why I can still be my home. It's so
Right.
much. Memphis weird, man. Because I go everywhere I go, people love Memphis, but
Right,
Memphis
I know.
don't love Memphis. I'm like,
And you're right. Memphis don't love, and you absolutely right.
people love Memphis. I mean,
People
everywhere I go.
love Memphis,
Yeah.
but Memphis don't love Memphis.
Memphis don't
You
love
are
Memphis.
absolutely correct. Now you said something.
So
right
what
there.
kept you good for here for so long? You've been, I mean, you went to school in Michigan. You've been all over the
Yeah,
place.
you know what? And well,
The family or?
my family is from, when I came back after the high school, go to school in South, I graduated from Russ.
Mm-hmm.
Then I got my master's at Jackson State.
Mm-hmm.
But family was here. But because one time I was going to Atlanta to work.
It was
But I had some job offers in Atlanta.
Uh-huh.
But then I was got sick, so I just stayed
Yeah.
on here. And you know what, Ron? I never thought I've been here 34 years. I never
Right.
thought I'd be here this long
I hear
at
you.
this radio
So
station.
what kept you here? I know it's good to have a steady paycheck.
You know what? I guess because I was crazy about the historic value of the
Yeah,
station.
very-
I go with
yeah,
the historic.
yeah.
Like matter of fact, tomorrow is WDIE's birthday.
Wow,
Will be 69 years old.
that's a blessing.
The
first black radio format in the whole country.
In the country.
Memphis set so many trends.
Come on.
Supermarket, Holiday Inn,
Right.
FedEx.
Memphis is people just don't
Come on, land of the
understand.
dead. I said, y'all need to stop saying that mess.
Yeah,
That's the
Memphis
land of the
dead.
master teacher, man.
Come on, y'all. That's why I don't want you here. But
We can talk about that a little bit. 'Cause I got some history, like even Maurice White. Cause you know what's interesting? W.T. McDaniel took over for Jimmie LUNceford. He was teaching band at both Booker T. Washington and Manassas for a long time.
okay,
So he was a rhythm bummer and Booker T's doing a whole show. But he was his teacher at
Really?
Booker T. Washington, right?
right.
And then Lucy Campbell was at Booker T. Washington.
Yeah,
And
and that's what Nat D taught at Booker T.
yeah,
Washington.
it was a very powerful place because she's a mother of gospel music.
Because I always heard, like I knew Manassas was the first high school in Booker T. Because my mother said, my aunt, they lived in Orange Mountain, and my great aunt had to go to Booker Washington because they didn't have the other high school yet, so
Right.
they had to take the bus and stuff to come to those schools.
It used to call Cortec or whatever they called it back in the day.
Right.
But it was the first black high school in the city, but it didn't go all the way to the 12th grade.
Right.
Manassas did, but they was in Shelby County at the time.
Uh-huh.
But it's like confusing how they do Memphis history. It's kind of like weird.
Bev Johnson show first name.
Yeah.
It's who?
Carolyn.
Carolyn. Hold on, Carolyn. But yeah.
Turn it off.
Because before my folks moved to Michigan, to Michigan, I went to Melrose in the first grade.
Oh, really? Wow.
And it was, when I went to first, it was 1 through 12 then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
No, William Mills was from he went to Melrose.
It's a lot of history.
But even the hip hop, like the Atlanta rappers, they love Memphis. They talk about Orange Mound.
Really?
Crunk started here in Memphis.
Right.
But Atlanta took it to the next level because they're seen as more unified.
Right.
But Memphis, a lot of people got from Memphis. I mean, them rappers, they acknowledge it.
Right.
So I used to go to Houston back in the 90s to visit my father. You would think that A.L.L. MJG was from the Fifth Ward, now Orange Mountain.
Right.
They love them down there.
I know.
So we set some trends. Even when I go to Ferguson or West Baltimore, I talk to Frederick grade friends. They found out I was from Memphis. They said, man, we love Yo Gotti and Young Dolph.
Right.
They love us, man, but we don't love us.
We don't love us.
Yeah.
Here we go, brother. I know.
All access, it's everything. Search and play any song instantly. Unlimited skips. Listen to our amazing hand-curated playlist for any mood or activity. Or create your own playlist and take your music offline. This is one scary good Halloween treat. This Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, open the app for V101's iHeartRadio All Access free preview weekend.
Here we go.
You're listening to the...
Welcome back. Going back to our phone lines to talk with you. WDIA. Hi, Carolyn. Yes.
Yes. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Carolyn.
Appreciate it.
Bye-bye. One of the things we were talking about that we were, Jimmie LUNceford, and we want people to know about his history. But also, Ron, you said that we know that Memphis has that musical history you're talking about, and when we talk about the people who come out of Memphis, and we think about, you were talking about Maurice White.
Oh yeah, no, the founder of Earth, Wind and Fire. They always trying to give Chicago credit for Maurice White, but he's from Foot Homes and Washington in South Memphis. Yeah. And that idea came when he was there, because you got to think about who his teacher was. W.T. McDaniel was over the band at Booker T. Washington at the time. W.T. McDaniel took over for Jimmie LUNceford. Like, he actually was the band director at Manassas High School and Booker T. Washington for a number of years at the same time. So imagine going to a football game, halftime show, he playing with the Booker Teasers, and the next minute with the Rhythm Bombers. Right. That's W.T. McDaniel. But also, he was Rush College class of 1927 with Lucy Campbell, who was the mother of gospel music. Right, that's right. Produced some phenomenal people. Yeah. But she was at Booker T. Washington at the same time. Yeah. She was the music director of the National Baptist Convention from 1916 to 62. She nationally debuted Marian Anderson, the famous opera singer who sung on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial when the Daughters of the Revolution refused her at the Constitutional Hall. She gave her national debut at the National Baptist Convention. She discovered and trained Dr. King's favorite singer, who was not Mahalia Jackson, but a brother from Memphis named Robert Bradley. That's his favorite singer. Wow. Yeah, and she trained and developed him. You know. History.
And we were talking that people always talk about Memphis. Memphians don't like Memphis, but people across the country love Memphis.
They love Memphis.
They love Memphis. Brother David. What?
Feed your mind and feed your soul and spirit and feed you a little bit. While the food lasts,
Yeah, let's say that. You heard Brother Ron say, while the food lasts.
Get there at 6 o'clock, because we start the program at 6:30. It's going to be a great night for music, fun, and feeling good about ourselves. It's open at 6 at the Old Daisy Theater tomorrow night on Wednesday, October 25th, and it ends at 9 p.m.
Yes, I will. My blog, yes. You know what? And I was telling Brother Ron, I said, what? I didn't know that, but he was a fabulous poet. I mean,
he was brilliant.
Oh, he was brilliant. Yeah.
Nah, we might be related, because every time I meet somebody, I get along with them, I think we might be related. We might be from the same plantation or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, you get along with somebody, we might be from the same plantation.
Right.
It's possible. But he spelled his name with a U, I spelled mine with an E. But who knows? He's supposed to be here tonight at the library. He might be at the library tonight, Dr. Bill Hurd, on our panel discussion. Okay. Yeah, we need donations. I mean, it's free ain't free for certain people. We putting it on. You can go to GoFundMe.com /Jimmie LUNceford, or you can reach out to me. My phone number is 901-299-4355, or you can email me at weallbe@gmail.com. That's WEALLBE@gmail.com. And I can send you details on how to donate. And it's tax deductible. It's a 501c3. So, yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Bye-bye. WDIA, hi, caller. Okay, Shawty Mac. Yeah, what happened to you? Okay, Shawty Mac, what? Go right ahead, Shawty Mac. You're on the air. We're doing fine.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Well, they're trying to, Shawty Mac, I understand what you're saying. I guess they're trying to be in order. You have to go through the certain channels to do what you have to do. Right, right. Well, we hope they do.
Right.
Exactly, Shawty Mac. So, yeah. Well, hopefully they'll come. You too, Shawty Mac. I hear you. I hear you. You know what, Brother Hurt, you have given us some great history today. Let me ask this. Are you trying to get Jimmie LUNceford, more and more people across the country to know about this man?
Yeah, I'm trying to do that, but also I want our people here to know about this man.
Yeah.
He came from us, and he thought enough of us to live with us. Regardless how big and famous he got, he always stayed among his people. He loved black people. He served black people. He believed in black people. He invested in black folk. Because around the time he died, he was looking for real estate somewhere in the country to start a retirement community for black musicians.
Wow.
This man thought village all the time. He thought village. He thought our people. He knew that Black Lives Matter before there was a Black Lives Matter movement or social media or internet, because he would start music education programs throughout the country to combat juvenile delinquency among black people. So he was a sociologist in that way.
Yeah. I'm surprised nobody ever took that up about building a community, because we do have a lot of musicians who suffer,
right,
and they don't have anywhere to go and money.
Well, maybe this might be the chance to resurrect that mission again. With Jimmie LUNceford, because I believe the ancestors are always present.
Oh, yes.
And they're calling for justice. They're calling for the reclaim of our narrative, of telling our story from us. We are our ancestors. We are the people that they dreamed about, that they sacrificed for. We are that generation that need to rise up and take it back. And with the statue, it doesn't bother me, because there's a ugly forest statue on I-65 outside Nashville. It's ugly, but it's on private property and it's privately owned. So my thing is, I don't care if you don't move the statue. I don't want to pay taxes on the upkeep of the statue, because he offended the memory of my ancestors. He gave them hell while he was around. And there is no justification in a city that's 70% black that we should be paying for the upkeep on that monument of that man. You know, truth be told. So you can keep it there. All I care, I just don't want to pay for the upkeep.
You don't pay for the
auction it off or whatever. Do what you want.
Or put him where he wanted to be.
Elmwood Cemetery. They can eminent domain it. They can eminent domain. The government can do what they want to. Right. They can eminent domain and seize the property and do what they want to do. You know.
I got you. And last but not least, again, tell our listeners the first annual Jimmie LUNceford Jamboree, and I loved how you say you kicked it off yesterday at MEmphis for the students.
Right.
And so this evening you will be at the Ben Hooks Library.
Yeah, our purpose is to teach the whole city.
Yes.
7 days, 7 different locations, even more within the 7 days. But we want to educate the people about who we are, who they people are, and why they should be interested in seeing that this thing become an annual success story. We want to rename the airport after Jimmie LUNceford and Lieutenant Colonel Luke Withers. We want to have a school in his name, one of streets, all this stuff like they do for their people. They, they reclaim their narrative. They make it what they want to make it. But it's good to be in the business of propaganda, to be able to master your span, to tell your side of the story and amplify what you want to amplify. That's why it's so important to support Bev Johnson and black media, because tomorrow is the 69th anniversary of WDIA, the first nationally known black radio format for black people. So Memphis has always been the incubator for innovation. See, I'm tired of hearing people in the city, Memphis is the land of the dead. No, it's not. It's the land of the master teachers. It was a video. The most popular music video several years ago on YouTube was a video by Katy Perry called Dark Horse. It was set in Memphis, Egypt, and the guest rapper was Juicy J. How did Katy Perry know about the greatness of Memphis, and y'all don't know about the greatness of Memphis? She used it. That was the most popular video on YouTube. Everywhere I go, people love Memphis. Atlanta, T.I., Lil Jon, all them guys, in their first rap albums, go back, they talk about Orange Mound. Y'all talk bad about Orange Mound. T.I. and Lil Jon, Atlanta rappers love Orange Mound. When I used to go to Houston back in the 90s, A.L.L and MJG, I thought they was from Fifth Ward, not from Orange Mound. They love Memphis down there. The Pimp C, before he died in a famous or infamous interview, he said, man, Crunk is from Memphis, man. You Atlanta folks, y'all on the Eastern time zone. They invented Crunk. Give honor what honor is due. Jimmie LUNceford had that 2-beat sound. That's why he was the most popular musician among African Americans, the band, because it was that 2-beat. You can still hear that 2-beat in Stax and High, in American, and even in 3-6 Mafia. They took his sound and used for different things. 2-beat. If you look at this being a special part of the country, Memphis is a distribution hub of America, not only for commerce and goods, but also cultural commerce. Because you see, Richard Wright grew up in New Chicago. He used to get his books from Cosset Library downtown. We're going to have a panel discussion.
Come on, bro.
Arthur Lee, one of the great rock and roll band leaders of the 60s. His daddy, Charles Taylor, he's from North Memphis. His daddy used to play for Jimmie LUNceford, Charles Taylor. Arthur Lee grew up over in L.A., influenced the band scene back there in the 60s. If you look at Tennessee Williams, did his first play in Memphis back in 1931. The modern supermarket was developed in Memphis. Clarence Saunders, Piggly Wiggly, September of 1916. Kemmons Wilson developed Holiday Inn here. So American culture was born in the Delta, on the river, in Memphis. Go down to Clarksdale. Clarksdale barely got 2,000 people. Man, it might be a hamlet or a village. But Clarksdale produced, and I'm just giving you a short list of who they produced. Ike Turner, Sam Cooke, Muddy Waters, John Lee Hooker, Nate Dogg, smoke weed every day. Rick Ross the rapper. That's a short list of the people they produced from a town with only 2,000 people. That's a 65-minute ride from Memphis. Do you really know who you are? We the master teachers.
Hey, brother, thank you so much for being here. You've given us a history lesson today. And the library tonight, New Daisy tomorrow night.
Yeah, and go to JimmieLUNceford.com to find out more information for events throughout Saturday and Sunday.
All right. Thank you. Brother Ron Hurd, thank you for being here. I'd love to have you back.
Oh, I'll be back. I hope so. You help me.
I'm going to have you back, brother. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you, callers and listeners, for joining us this day on the Bev Johnson Show. We really do appreciate you. So until tomorrow, please be safe. Keep a cool head, y'all.